Nepal has witnessed something the world cannot forget. Gen Z, the youngest, angriest generation, took over the streets, challenged power, and changed the course of politics. Seven shocking moments tell the story. From parliament in flames to ministers fleeing by helicopter, from prisons broken open to citizen journalism breaking every ban. And what makes this more important? These aren't just Nepal lessons, these are warnings for every democracy, including ours in India. Burning of parliament and heritage. The first shock, the nation's parliament itself set ablaze. Flames rose from the white pillared halls from offices that should have been untouchable symbols of democracy. Along with it, nearby heritage buildings also caught fire, black smoke covering the Kathmandu sky. For protesters, this wasn't just destruction, it was a message that the old political order has lost its legitimacy. What happened next is that the Prime Minister KP Oli resigned soon after several ministers stepped down. Reconstruction of these institutions has barely begun. The charred ruins remain as evidence of the scale of anger. Let's see the current status of this. Parliament sessions are paralyzed. The government is in a caretaker mode, and people are still asking who really lit those fires, angry youth or infiltrators who wanted to digitalize the movement. The second most important point that we are looking into is ministers escaping by helicopter. This image shocked the whole world. A military helicopter hovering over rooftops, ropes dangling, ministers and their families were pulled out like fugitives. This wasn't just evacuation, it was humiliation. A government running away from its own people. And the videos went viral, turning into the defining image of a regime collapsing under pressure. Protesters celebrated it as a victory. Officials called it an emergency operation. And as of now, questions remain. How did the capital fall into such chaos that ministers had to flee like this? No inquiry has given answers, but the memory of leaders escaping by rope has already gone down in history as the symbol of power defeated. Next, what we are seeing this is a riot police crackdown. Then came the brutal clash, streets filled with youth chanting for justice. Riot police marched in formation, shields and battles raised, tear gas filled the air, Rabbit's bullets flew, and eyewitnesses say even live rounds were fired. By the end of that night, bodies lay on the streets, 19 people dead at minimum, hundreds injured. Hospitals in Kathmandu could not cope. Families lined up outside searching for their loved ones. What happened next was the government promised an inquiry in 15 days, free treatment for the injured and compensation for the families of the dead. As of now, death toll estimates now cross 30. Many injured remain in hospitals. Families still wait for proper justice and payouts. The investigation report is not yet public, deepening mistrust in the system. The next you see is this elite hotels and properties in flames. The fourth stroke fire was just in government halls but in symbols of wealth. Luxury hotels like Hilton and Hyatt, elite residencies, even party offices all went up in flames. For protesters, this was the strike against privilege, against the Nepo kids flaunting luxury cars and lifestyles online while ordinary youth struggled. The next, leaders called it terrorism. Protesters said it was rebellion. Insurance companies rushed to access billions in damage. As of now, hotels remain closed, damage still being calculated. Reconstruction will take even months, if not years. For ordinary Nepalis, it became a visible image of elite arrogance being reduced to ashes. This one is mass Gen Z mobilization. The fifth moment was not fire or violence, but the sheer scale of the uprising. From Kathmandu to Pokhara, from Puranchi to Itasi, seas of young faces filled the streets. Students in uniforms, workers with banners, even teenagers barely out of the school, all demanding the same thing: an end to corruption, censorship, and inequality. This was no flash mob, it was a moment, a generation that refused to be silent. What happened next was the curfews were imposed, but youth kept coming. Online, they organized through VPNs, discovered servers, and underground chats. The man couldn't silence them. And now, protesters have calmed for now, but the movement hasn't died. Gen Z in Nepal continues to organize, calling for systemic reforms and long term accountability. Their unity remains their biggest strength. This sixth one is a collateral damage: homes and cars destroyed. But with chaos, ordinary people suffered the most. Streets of Kathmandu and smaller towns saw cars burned, homes shattered, shops looted. Families who had nothing to do with the protest lost everything. For them, democracy's fight became a personal tragedy. What happened next was security forces blamed protesters. Protesters accused provocators. But the truth is, ordinary citizens bore the heaviest cost. Let's see the current status of this also. Some families are still living in ruins. Compensation for civilian losses is unclear. Public sympathy is divided. Some still support the youth, others feel betrayed by the destruction. Final one is the digital war and citizen journalism. And the seventh shock was the battle for truth itself. When the government banned platforms, citizen journalists picked up their phones. They filmed every fire, every crackdown, every minister escaping by rope. Clips spread worldwide. Nepal's story was not told by TV channels but by its youth. The government accused them of misinformation, opposition infiltration, even foreign funding. But the more it tried to silence them, the more viral the truth became. And the next happened was that the ban was lifted, but suppression of journalists continued. Several newsrooms were attacked. As of now, citizen journalism remains the backbone of the movement. Even today, the only reason the world knows that really what happened is because Gen Z refused to let the truth die. Seven socks and one truth. Nepal's Gen Z has forced its leaders to resign, forced its institutions to reckon with anger, and shown that youth power cannot be silenced. But this is not just Nepal's story. For India, the lessons are clear. Digital freedom can be taken overnight. Youth anger cannot be ignored. Suppression will never kill truth, it only multiplies it. So, the question is, when our youth rise, when voices are banned, when corruption becomes unbearable, will our democracy listen or will it wait for fire? Stay tuned, we'll come up with the next.